All right. Once in this Lubavitch and the areas around Lubavitch. Lubavitch is like in the Ukraine or whatever, in the, Belarus, whatever. It's in the Russia, I guess, in the general. Those days, Russia ruled over the whole business. So, so the Hasidim, they got along really well with everybody around them, and all the non-Jews also. They all got along very well, and to a certain degree, the Hasidim took responsibility for as much as possible for everyone, and they prayed for everyone, and they helped each other. Well, it happened once that there was a big drought. There was no rain. No rain. Those people depended very heavily on rain. They were farmers. They depended on rain. A farmer not having any rain is, it's a very nerve-wracking and depressing occurrence. No rain, he goes out. What's he supposed to do? He waits every day. He plants the seed. No rain comes. Nothing's going to grow. They wait and they wait. Nothing's going to grow. So a bunch of the Jewish farmers, they got together and they came into the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek was the Rebbe at that time of Chabad. Came to Tzemach Tzedek. Tzemach Tzedek was the third Rebbe in the line of 7 Rebbes of Chabad. He was the third one. He was a very, very holy person. He wrote a tremendous amount. He was receiving questions from everyone in the world, wrote a lot of Chassidic ideas. Anyway, they went into him and they asked for a blessing. And he said that I can't. It's out of my control. I can't do anything. I can't control the rain. I don't. So they came out and they were crying. They didn't know what to do. What was going to be? There's going to be a drought, a tremendous plague, an awful thing. So there were 3 Hasidim. One of them, I think, was Rav Hillel Miparich, I think, and 2 other Hasidim, Isaac and Hummel. And they saw all these farmers crying, and they asked them what's going on. And so they told them. So these 3, they went. There was one of the Hasidim. He was a simple sort of a fellow, and he was like a standing guard by the Rebbe's door. He would let people in, escort people out when they left, sort of like the doorman from the Rebbe's office. But he was a simple Hasidim. These 3 Hasidim were very tremendously holy people and respected. Hillel Miparich, they could have been Rebbe's themselves at any other place, but they realized the greatness of the Rebbe. And so they went up to this simple Chassid, and he was just in awe to see these people are dealing with him. They're usually just talking about the deepest ideas. And he said, yes, can I help? He said, well, we're giving this letter, and we want you to go into the Rebbe and read this letter to the Rebbe. So, well, why don't you go in? I mean, who am I to say this to the Rebbe? No, we want you to do it. So he looked at the letter, what they had to say. They gave him a piece of paper written on it, and he almost fainted. He said, I can't do this. What does it say? It said, dear Rebbe, you should be ashamed of yourself. If you are not a Rebbe, if you can't give a blessing to these people, so then you're not a Rebbe. You're not a Rebbe. What are you fooling us for? And if you are a Rebbe, then why don't you give a blessing to these people to make the rainfall? If so, what are you, cruel? So he said, listen, I can't go in front of the Rebbe and read something like this. What, I'm confronting the Rebbe. I'm ordering the Rebbe what to do. So they say, we are a Beit Din, we're a judicial court, and we're commanding you that you have to do what a judicial court says. And if the Rebbe asks you, how can you be so chutzpahdik, how could you be so brazen to say, if he gets mad at you, you can say, Rebbe, I'm just doing what the judicial court told me what to do. So he said, please, I can't do it. I can't go into the Rebbe. Just to go into the Rebbe and just, to face the Rebbe is just too much. To face you fellows is just too much for me. I can't. They said, listen, we're telling you what you have to do. You have to do it. You have to listen to the court. So he said, okay. So he opened the door and he went in, the simple Jew. And the Rebbe looked up and he was standing there just trembling. And he opened this letter and he said, Rebbe, if you can't give a blessing to these people, then you're not a Rebbe. What are you fooling all the people for? And if you can give them a blessing and you don't want to, then that's cruelty. What are you cruel? And so the Rebbe looked at him and he heard what he had to say and he looked down. And this man, meanwhile, is standing there. He doesn't know how the Rebbe is going to act. Maybe he's going to, fire is going to come out of his eyes and burn him up. Who knows what's going to happen? And he's just standing there. And the Rebbe stands up and he goes to the window and he starts looking out the window. And this Chassid just started standing there. He's just standing, doesn't know what to do. And the Rebbe looks out the window and suddenly he sees that the winds start to blow outside and it gets dark. There's clouds. And the Rebbe looks back a little bit and he walks around and he goes to the window again and he looks out again and all of a sudden it starts to little drops of water. And he does the same thing again. He looks out, he looks and it starts pouring rain outside. So the Rebbe sat down and he realized that was it and he went outside. He goes outside and he walks outside and there's the farmers, they're rolling around in the mud and the rain and they're praying, they're giving thanks to God. They're so happy, they're just letting the rain fall on their faces and just their arms out in gratitude. So this Chassid went back to the 3 Chassidim that sent him and he said, you see, it worked. How did you know it would work? So they said, well, we talked about it. And there's a Gemara. And the Gemara says, I forget where the Gemara is. I think it's in Tainis, but I don't remember. I think in Yerushalmi. And it says over there in the Gemara, in the Talmud, that once, here is, what is it? 1 second, give me that. There was Rav Papa. And Rav Papa, he was the big tzaddik of the generation. He was like the Tzemach Tzedek. And Rav Papa, he also the same thing. He had to pray that they were praying, there was a something bad, whatever it wasn't. The people were fasting and they were praying. And Rav Papa also, he was an old man. He was praying. And all the person, meanwhile, he felt very weak because he was fasting. So he felt that he was about to lose consciousness. So he asked them to bring him some porridge, some sort of cereal or something that he would eat the cereal. He was eating the cereal. So it came up to him Rav Nachman Ushpazi and said to him, oh, Rav Papa, maybe eat another bowl of cereal and the rain will come down. Maybe eat another bowl of cereal. In other words, everyone's fasting. Why aren't you fasting? What are you doing? You're eating cereal. What do you think you're going to, by eating, you're going to bring them in? Maybe eat another bowl of cereal that's going to come. That embarrassed Rav Papa. And because of his embarrassment, as he deepened his prayer, and his prayers were answered. That's what it says in the Talmud. It says the same thing here. We realized if we would shame the Rebbe, that the Rebbe would feel the same thing that Rav Papa felt, and he would deepen his prayers and it would change. So what's the point of the story? To show the power of the Rebbe and to show the power of the Chassidim, that they believed in the Rebbe and they, so to speak, forced the Rebbe, that the Rebbe forced God to bring rain. How could this possibly be? We could force God? Because God put the whole business into our hands. And God said that if we pray, is He'll listen to our prayers. And especially the prayers of a tzaddik, these are people that their prayers are a little more genuine. They come from a little more genuine place, or maybe a lot more genuine than ours do. In any case, we need Mashiach now, and we can pray for Mashiach now. And whatever we have to do is we need, the world can't go on this way. So maybe we should dig another tunnel under the 770 or do something crazy. But the world has to be the way the Rebbe looks at it. And it certainly will be, hopefully before tomorrow's class at 8:15 in the morning. See you all then. Have a good day with Mashiach now.